Hello, everybody. Welcome to our first ever Husky podcast. I am the sports information specialist for East LA College, Cerwin Haynes. Thankful and grateful for you guys joining us this afternoon or whenever you're watching this podcast. This is a very unique thing for us. You see, we have a new studio here, and this is going to be a huge thing for us to illustrate and give you a good look inside our program and our teams, and just show you, what we do here at East LA College, what we're able to do, and the opportunities we afford our student athletes. So our first guest today is someone who has laid the foundation for a turnaround for a program that has struggled greatly over the past several years, even before COVID. And I'm talking to interim head coach for ELAC women's soccer, Ramon Rivas. Ramon, what's going on, man?
Thanks for having me, Cerwin. Glad to be here.
I'm happy to have you. Hey, how was the holiday party yesterday?
It was good, man. It was good. It was great. It was a great setup. I feel like I haven't been to the ones previous, obviously, but I think it was good. I think it was just small, intimate. Everyone was able to just chop it up and talk, and it was great.
I'm gonna take a little bit of credit for that
Definitely.
because before it was matter of fact, that started before you left, when I first started years ago, I'm like, we don't have anything holiday related for our department. Let's do something. So it started out, I think the first 2 years, I put together a little function out in our office. It was just our department. And my wife came in, she made food, baked treats and everything like that, and had board games. So we did that first 2 years. So then the aquatics coach, Diana Romero, decided to kind of take that idea and expand upon it. She said, hey, listen, let's actually get a venue, and let's bring in kinesiology. So then it became a dual department thing, and we had it at the Sheraton Hotel upon Atlantic for a couple of years. And then yesterday was at the Bar and Grill.
In Monterey Park.
Bar and Kitchen. Brew Kitchen.
Brew Kitchen, yeah.
So shout out Brew Kitchen. So, and it was great. What'd you eat?
I got a burger.
Mm-hmm.
I think it was two options. I think it was the chicken sandwich and the burger. I got the burger. Chicken sandwich looked good.
Chicken was good. It was delicious. Really crispy.
And then they had like a passion fruit type of drinks, right? And it was great. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, my wife, I got the chicken, my wife got the burger, but she had to leave early because she had a treat order. She had the bacon order. So I ended up eating a little bit of both.
Right, no, and they had good appetizers.
Oh,
Did you try the egg rolls?
Oh, yeah, they're delicious.
They were like esquite egg rolls, the corn. But it was good. It was overall a great time.
Yeah, it was. And
we were talking to another coach. We were talking about, maybe possibly having something like that for all the athletes as well. Maybe not to that extent, but maybe on campus where more affordable, right? But they all kind of get like a banquet, right?
A banquet,
banquet.
Man, I know you're talking about it.
It kind of just brings all the athletes together, and they kind of get to know each other, right? Build a little more school pride. So maybe that's something that you guys are have in the works.
So thankfully, good thing you mentioned that, because when there was some sort of banquet type of thing when Bobby first started as AD, and then when I came on. But when we tried to initiate it and do it ourselves, it ended up being a lot of red tape. So we just had to do it. But now things have changed since those early years, and more influence, more. So now, because our athletic director Bobby Godinez, he mentioned that we should be able to do something like that. We could move to do something like that. So yeah, so definitely a banquet could be in the works. A bunch of other things. You've had a lot of things in the works this year. A lot of things that we talked about over the summer about what you wanted to see. And just before we get into that, your background a little bit. You were here before. You were an assistant coach under men's soccer with head coach Eddie Flores for a number of years. You left ELAC to kind of spread your wings. You got the job as the women's head coach at College of the Desert. Shout out to Brian Silver, the SID there. Right. And in 2 seasons, you go 28-9-6 with a conference title in that second year. So, I mean, you could have stayed and keep building on that success. But when Bobby Godinez, athletic director, give you a call about the opening here, like, you didn't hesitate. You didn't hesitate to come back here. So why was that?
Well, before I explain, first off, shout out to Eddie Flores. Grateful for a mentor. Grateful for a good friend, someone that I can definitely go to with some tough times. Just he has a lot of experience. So shout out to Eddie Flores. Thank you for everything you've done for me here at ELAC. So with that being said, you know, COD was not in my plan. Like it was very unexpected, right? You know, it just kind of. I felt like I needed a head coaching gig, right? You know, it was opportunity for me to stay in California. So it all worked out. The AD was relatively new as well. He's actually from this area. He was the AD at Compton.
Oh, okay.
He was AD at Compton. I got the gig at College of the Desert. So he understood the competitiveness that we had here in the South Coast Conference, right? So you know, it was a great experience, right? Going back to your question, what made me pick? You know, LA's home. First of all, LA is home. You know, I have my family here. Everything I know is here. So that's number one. Number two, you know, starting my coaching career, my collegiate coaching career here at ELAC. You know, it just felt like I was missing something, right? Like I never accomplished what I wanted to do, right? So for me, it was like that itch to come back to where I started and do something as a head coach, you know? So that's kind of where that came from. And then lastly, you know, the staff, the personnel I'm working with, Cerwin, Bobby, I already know them as well. I know they want, you know, they have the same goal, right, to be competitive, get these students transferred out. So I think we align in those goals when it comes to that. So the facilities, right, having a great stadium, and then just, you know, again, being home.
Indeed, being home. And when you came back in the spring of this past year, we talked a lot during the spring. You and I talked about quite a bit during the spring and the summer. We had an interview about what your plans were, and we talked about how your plans for laying the foundation for a new direction for this women's soccer program. We'll get into the moment of what you inherited.
Yeah.
But this is a program, just an overview. Past season only had, prior to this past season, your first season, only had 6 total wins over his past 5 seasons. 14 total goals over the past 4 seasons. So, given what you came into and now having talked about from the plans before to now, after your first full season, talk about how well you believe you were able to implement your plans for this first season.
I think it all went as planned. I think it all went as planned. No complaints there. I think you know, even before coming in and getting to know the players, it was important for me to lay out my coaching staff. Without a good coaching staff, you know, you won't go far. So, you know, shout out to my coaching staff this year, Eduardo Barba and Benito, Erwin, Christian Carranza, and then our videographer, Heldon. So
awesome videographer too.
Yeah, he's amazing. So, you know, with them, you know, just believing in what I wanted to do, my philosophy and everything, it made my job a lot easier. So that's number one. And then, you know, I had to make sure the players understood what I wanted to do, right? And believe that, you know, we can be competitive, right? Regardless of what happened in the past, you know, we're going to go out there and try to compete every single game and not worry so much about results, but worry about progression, right? Worry about how can you improve individually. And that's always been my philosophy. If you worry about the things that you could do, everyone else is going to grow at the same time, right? Regardless of what level everyone's at.
Absolutely.
So that was my main philosophy coming in here. Worry about progressing as a player. Don't worry about the results, right?
And how easy or difficult was it for you to bring that mentality in? Because again, you're even though you brought in a bunch of new players, some transferring sophomores, you did inherit several holdovers from last season. And you know, last season the team was consistently getting blown out. So, even with the new group, especially with the holdovers, how easy or hard was it for you to get that buy-in?
I don't think it was too hard, and let me tell you why. I think it was with certain players, maybe certain freshmen that were coming out of high school that was a little more complicated.
Okay.
But the ones that were already here, they wanted to be competitive the whole time.
So they had that thirst.
They already had that thirst and that itch to say, I want to go out there and compete. You know what I'm saying? I want to go out there and train. I want to go out there and be pushed to the max. I want to go out there and put a name right to the college and the program. So, for me to be here, it's like they were ready to go.
Mm-hmm.
The moment I met with them the first time in the classroom, they were locked in.
And we're talking some of the sophomores, the Fatimas, Vasquez and Fod. You're talking about Wendy Zuniga, also
Ruben
Moreno,
Olani,
all those sophomores that were here last year. And you said they were just thirsty. They were ready to be able to be competitive.
Yeah.
So we were talking about the buy-in, and we're talking about, you mentioned mediocrity, but really, if we're being honest, it was worse than that. You probably remember it's different points during the season, maybe at a couple wins, I would come up to you and say, hey, listen, you guys did something today that hasn't been done in 10 years. Or you did something today that hasn't been done since 2015.
Right.
Many of those moments involved scoring. This team had its highest scoring average since 2015. How did it feel for you knowing that even in your first year, which is a clear rebuilding year, what we talked about, your team was able to hit milestones not seen here in a decade?
Felt good. It felt good. At the end of the day, though, I think we had bigger goals, right? I didn't focus so much on the individual goals, but I do reward the ladies, and the players. Just that those things are small milestones, right? But we really need to give ourselves some credit still.
Yes.
Just because that's what's kind of gonna lead to the bigger picture, right?
Mm-hmm.
So we'll take them, and we move on, right? There's something I tell my players all the time: short term memory, right? Short term memory with winning,
Mm-hmm.
short term memory with losing.
Mm-hmm.
You're on to the next one.
Yeah.
So, but yeah, man, that's exciting stuff. We're excited to have those.
Just to go over some numbers here, in the past 4 years, you're talking about just being able to setting a new level of just competitiveness that you've been able to successfully do this year. 2001 to 2021 season, goals per game 0.06. Is that I don't even think that was even impossible. I didn't know much about soccer, still don't. 0.06 goals per game in 2021. 2022, 0.13 goals per game. Notice that these are decimals. It's not even a full goal per game. 2023, half a goal, zero point 0.5 goals per game. Julio's wincing behind the camera because he's a soccer guy. 2024, 0.19 goals a game. Now, this year, again, we don't, you guys have an idea what a good scoring team is, but compare those numbers to this year, 1.7 goals per game. So you go from, at the best, half a goal, and that's not even the average for the past seasons behind that. You're probably looking at an average of 0.2 something. You basically, I don't know what word it is for 6 times the amount of whatever goals, but you've gone from those paltry numbers, minuscule numbers, microscopic numbers to 1.7. Shots per game, in the best season out of those past four I mentioned, was 3.7 shots per game. This year, 8.25 shots per game. There was having even the scoring because you had Jennifer Gallardo, who was your leading scorer, but you still had scorers. You still had some spreading out of the goals. Jackie Gallardo was second on the team. You had a bunch of team players that had at least maybe 2 goals, and so the scoring. You had your main scorer, but you also had some differentiation. It spread out. It's just amazing to see what, looking through the numbers, what competency or return to just competency. Not even, like you say, you weren't worried about the wins or losses, just the process, the performance. Just defensively, opponents would shoot over 14 and a half shots a game prior to this past season. Okay, so you've laid your foundation. We went through the numbers to show how you began to separate the program competitively from the prior seasons. Should you shed the interim tag and get the position outright, how do you approach year 2?
So biggest part is build and piggyback off of year 1, right? You know, replay how everything went. You know, look at all the details on how we can improve from coaching staff to the players that we're recruiting, and then just the way we approach the whole season from start to finish, right? You know, making sure that the players are receiving the proper, training to continue competing. Um, and the most important right now as we recruit and enter the spring, right? We're heading to high school games, and we want the athletes to understand that our priority here at East LA is to commit players that want to continue playing at the next level and have a winning mentality, right? Because at the end of the day, that's how we're going to succeed, right? We have all the tools here at East LA to be successful, and there's no reason why athletes shouldn't be joining our program. So with that being said, piggybacking off year one, we have some great returners coming in. We have about 6 players that are understanding our philosophy and what we expect.
Well, that's it. That's it from us. Happy to have Coach Rivas join us for our first ever podcast. But we're excited. I'm excited for what you did so far in this first year program. I was there every game and watched the progress, the return to just general competitiveness. And I can't wait to see what you do in year 2. Thanks for being with us, man.
Definitely. Thanks for having me. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
And look out. We have coaches out there recruiting, so keep a lookout for Husky Nation.
Oh, your IG. Plug you guys' Instagram account.
Our IG account is.
They're very active. You mentioned his videographer.
So it's ELAC_W soccer. ELAC_W soccer. Give us a follow. A lot of great content.
A lot of great content. Probably the best content video wise. Sports. They've done such a great job documenting their season. And again, just can't wait to see what you're going to do in year 2. So thanks again,
Appreciate
Coach.
it. Thank you.
All right, thanks guys for joining us. See you next time.